Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Devil's Advocate podcast. I am your host, Derek Cashman, for this evening, and we are going to be previewing the Everton game. Joining me tonight are two new members of the Devil's Advocate panel. We have Maisie and we have Cian. Guys, welcome along to the channel.
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
I suppose we'll start off by just kind of the fact that you're new to the channel. We'll introduce you properly. So, Maisie, if you want to start. You were saying backstage you run your own channel, is that correct?
Yeah, I've got my own channel. I've been taking a break at the moment, so I will be back on it permanently tomorrow. So I do a Manchester United podcast as well, but I also do women's football as well as Manchester United too. So I do a bit of both. Do a bit of sporting content as well because I watch quite a bit of the Portuguese football. So I'm quite a good sporting admirer, I'd like to say. So yeah, so a range of different things.
Oh, very good. And what's the name of your channel, just so we can have a little plug there for yourself?
Thank you. It's Devils United is my YouTube channel name.
Oh, okay. And Cian, I know your camera's off the moment, but welcome to the channel, man. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, you're all good, Cian? There might be a little bit of a connection issue there with Cian. And joining me as well, I completely forgot he was coming on tonight, our resident shithouse, Reese. Reese being Reese already.
I mean, come on, what do you expect? Me to be civil?
I call
Come
you our
on,
resident shithouse for a reason. What am I saying?
I'm Scottish.
Well, that is true.
It comes with the territory, you know.
Well, was waiting for Julio to fucking pop up now. But look,
he can stay in his place. Little bastard.
Look,
there's
no
barcodes here at the head, so he can stay somewhere else.
Look, we have our opinion on those barcodes, and we'll keep them PG if we can.
PG. This is PG. It's after fucking 8, mate. It's after 8. There's no PG.
I suppose. Look, we'll kick things off. So
PG.
The news that broke today was that there is now a task force. Well, they brought out a quick brief to say that there was a task force in what they call the regeneration of Old Trafford. If anyone wants to take up on that, I suppose, what's your ideas on the state of Old Trafford at the moment? Are you on the side of renovated or not and start from scratch?
For me, with thank you. For me, with Old Trafford, it's a difficult one to say just because I absolutely love Old Trafford. I've been going to games on and off for years, and this is so much history there. But I do understand, like, there is loads of stadiums that are much better than Manchester United's at the moment. Much better with technology. Not that I agree so much with having Wi-Fi at a football ground. I don't agree with stuff like that. But in terms of like high technology, in terms of you get to see like TV, so you're not too far away, and the VAR process, it looks a lot better in a great stadium. Like, you look at how well Tottenham Hotspurs is at the moment, and even the Etihad, that's even getting better too. So there is a lot of stadiums that are going better than Manchester United in terms of looking wise, but the history, it's all there. And as soon as you get into Old Trafford, you can literally smell breathe in that history. It's just history's all over the place, and I'm attached to Old Trafford, I must be honest, but you do need to look at the pros and the cons. I'll look at how much will it cost to put Manchester United, Old Trafford, into a top of the range football ground. If that's not gonna cost too much, I think it will probably cost a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but if that's gonna cost less than a new stadium, why build a new stadium? Just redo it, put it all up to modern day. But if, for instance, it costs more than a football ground, keep Old Trafford where it is, build a new ground, then knock off, for me, the very top floor of Old Trafford, and put it there for the women and the academy. So then they're both right next to each other.
Yeah, no, and I absolutely agree because like as you can tell, Irish Reds come over all the time. I remember coming over as I think I was like 8 or 9 was my first game, and unfortunately, of all games, it was the game against Porto when Jose Mourinho was running down that touchline. But look, we'll go by we'll move past that part. But like going there as a young kid, you just see the atmosphere there, especially on the Champions League night. I was very fortunate with my very first game, and you look at the way the stadium sets up and the way people are just have their breath taken away just going there. That's the kind of thing I still get. Like I'm 29 now, I still get that feeling 20 years on. So if I'm still in that mindset that I look at it like that 20 years on from my first game, what does that say? Like I'm very much the same as yourself. I'm very much attached to the aura of Old Trafford. Like when I'm over in Manchester, I tend to kind of go around the Old Trafford areas at night time in the lit areas, because the stadium itself just has that aura on the outside, especially when there's no one around the silent. Like I prefer sitting out there in silence in the evening time when there's no fella selling half and half scarves, because you could just take it all in that bit more. And like I intentionally go into the stadium that little bit early just to get that same feeling. Like I try and be there in around the hour mark just because I'm taking it all in each time. So like my opinion on it is, if you can rebuild the roof of the Bernabeu with no, like, okay, I know Keen probably mention, Reese will probably mention it, La Liga and all that, their money spending and everything, it's completely different to Premier League. But at the end of the day, you look at it like, if the Bernabeu roof can be fixed and maintained to be still in the same stadium, why can't we? Now, I like what you're saying there, Maisie, because I remember someone said it on Twitter, and I can't remember who said it. It was in relation to the only liable option to move out of the stadium is take the top tiers down, use it for the women and academy, but rather than just leaving it there and having it called the Old Trafford, shall we say, if you want to continue the Old Trafford name. Someone might want to mention in the comments, because I know someone said it somewhere. Call it the Jimmy Murphy Stadium after everything that the club has gone through, and it's a nice one. It's a nice idea, and in my opinion, for me being so emotionally attached to being at Old Trafford and keeping it as it is, I would actually say that's the only way you're going to have me in favor of moving out of Old Trafford. Reese, I'm probably sure you've mentioned this numerous times as well. So, just for anyone new listening, care to give your thoughts on it?
It's time to move out.
Oh, well, that's an interesting approach. Like, I suppose
I again, like I've got a different sentimental approach. I mean, up until obviously next weekend, I've never been to Old Trafford.
Yeah, that's very true.
So
Yeah.
So I can't. So I have no right to share the sentimental value that match-going fans have. I have no right. I have a right as a football fan to give my opinion. Now, I specifically think that it's hard to renovate Old Trafford completely because of the railway line behind it as well, unless you find some means to do that as well, because it's a single line. So in terms of the actual, you need to get authority from like Manchester Council as well to do that, because that is a very important rail line that goes all the way across, especially in the circumstance where even just renovating that, you also have to get planning permission.
Yeah.
So in the sense that I personally think you shouldn't. But I've seen people that tweet out etc. that Old Trafford should be knocked down. I don't agree with that. I don't think you should. I'm in the same incline as the San Siro. I don't think you should destroy a sacred building. I think you should just build something new and keep it as a monumental. As what it is, it's a monument. It's important. It's a reflection of people's memories. Old Trafford's already been blitzed. It doesn't need to be knocked down. I think circumstance being that for United going forward, in terms of the fact is money in football is more and more imposing on the game, where you need to prove your financial might, your financial wealth just to compete. It's a reflection of the game where it would cost United more to renovate Old Trafford than build a new stadium. It would cost £1 billion more to renovate than build a new stadium. I would keep Old Trafford for sentimental reasons. But
Hmm.
I think United need to move into a different stadium. But also, I don't think you should completely go away from what Old Trafford represented as a stadium.
Hmm.
Like, you can't just all of a sudden go and make it a big oval, or you can't just go and make it look like the Scumta had, or give it a soulless atmosphere like Anfield, which goes quiet after singing one shitty song that they stole from Scottish fans. Like, let's be real. Like, you need to have a sense of clarity, and you also have to have an understanding of basics in economy and economics, as well as renovation. And when you look at it in that, it's as much as it'd be great to keep Old Trafford, and I wouldn't be against that. The fact of the matter is, it would cost £1 billion more to renovate it than it would to stay there. Like, I
Hmm.
think the wiser option is to get a new stadium and just keep Old Trafford as a museum in its own right. But if they ended up doing a Madrid approach where you renovate the Old Trafford into some modern version, but you still maintain its aura, then I'd be okay with that. But you need
Hmm.
planning permission as well, especially for the railway. It's very difficult, especially from the area Old Trafford's in. Like, I've never been there, but for goodness sake, like, I use Google.
Hmm.
I use Google Maps. I've had a look. Like,
No, I
it's not
suppose
stupid.
someone might.
The area is horrific. The area is horrific for moving around.
Hmm.
And you guys have seen it yourselves. You've been there more
Yeah.
than I have. You'll know full well it's a nightmare. It's
Yeah. No, I
wiser
was going to say
to
it
make
was
this
more just
decision.
for the South Stand. I was just thinking because logically they could have probably gone higher like they have with the North Stand, the Sir Alex Ferguson stand now, where they've just
Potentially,
gone for an extra
potentially.
tier. But is it the whole talk of the railway line? Is it they're oh, I haven't looked upwards that high, but I'm assuming it's the fact that the railway line itself is of a certain level, is it?
Yeah, it's
If someone
over. It's well above ground level. Like, it's
like, 'cause
the
I was
exact
always
height.
kind
I'm
of
not like
questioning.
the exact height is like,
Yeah,
well,
no, I was going to say
don't know the exact height, but
I'm sitting in the South Stand most of my
it's
games,
definitely
so
an
I'm still
impact.
like,
It's definitely an impact when you look
mm,
at it, but um, I'm not sure. I don't want Old Trafford to get knocked down, but I do think the wise move might be to replace it
look, we'll all have our like. I
somehow.
suppose, yeah, no, I suppose next week you'll kind of get the understanding as to where we are coming from once and for all. But we're
Oh,
finally joined by
there's a
Keen.
different level to that. Oh, there's a different level to that. I mean,
Yeah,
I admit it. Like, I don't have the right to share the sentimental value of a match going fan. Like, up until like next week is my first live game as a fan.
mm,
Like, I'll admit that it's my first live game. But I've been a fan for years. Like, it's not hard to notice that Old Trafford is fucking falling down. Like, you can go there, literally take your best Vosine shampoo, take your best conditioner, and you can have an absolute amazing shower if you wanted to. Like,
whatever you're into, Reese. Whatever
I
you're
mean, yeah,
into.
I mean, you asked for the shit house. At least you're gonna get it.
That's fair point. Uh, I suppose Keen, you finally joined us. How are you, man? Hello, you hear me, Keen?
All good, how are you?
I'm all good. I know you kind of
Derek,
missed
can
the
you hear me?
start. Yeah, yeah. No, there might be a bit of lag on
Yeah, I
one of
can,
our
yeah.
sides.
2 seconds,
But we were just talking there the idea of a new Old Trafford. What's your take on it?
Awkward,
Connection issues are not the forte in Ireland, I see.
potentially.
And like someone, and he's gone again, unfortunately. But I was going to make the point there that Reese, you made the point about it costing more to renovate than it would to.
It costs double. It costs double. It costs double. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it depends on the the unfortunate term glazernomics. If you want to put your glazernomics about it, if whichever is cheaper, they're probably going to go for really because that's
I don't think it's that purely. I know that's like a topical term amongst United fans, but it's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with that at all. When you look at planning permission, it's very important for like how much like you actually have to physically spend to improve your actual area. It's
mm,
not really to do with that rubbish. Honestly, I mean that is a attempt for something else that I completely understand and agree with. But when it comes to this, it's not. It's purely the sense of it costs more to do that. Look at the amount of money that Real Madrid had to spend to renovate to not leave the Bernabeu. Says all.
I was going to say I didn't
totally
even
different.
look up the cost of it. Anyone, do you have any idea how much or reported cost? Should I say?
I can get you the exact value because I've only ever seen it in euros, but I'll get the exact value for you. 2 seconds.
Dude, because it's interesting because I didn't even know. No, I don't follow Spanish clubs, La Liga in general, as much as Reese would, because Reese is our resident European football, especially Serie A. But
I just love football, mate.
I don't know. Maybe we all love football, but Jesus, all the time.
I mean, considering how much it's costing to build the new San Siro, says it all. It's 1.2 billion. That's how much it costs to renovate.
Oh, and do they say that they added many seats to it as a result of just fixing the roof? Because obviously you're able to go opt in, obviously. So
Not that I can see. But it was definitely over that. So they asked members to offer up. I am cheerful. What are you playing at? Obviously, to be a member at Madrid, obviously you need to prove your financial wealth. They all had to chip in 370 million to do it. It cost 893 million euros altogether, so it's just over $1 billion in terms of circumstance. But they certainly need to spend a shitload. It generally costs more money to renovate than buy something new.
And I was just going to say, I would have just assumed that renovation would have been cheaper, no?
No, it's because the whole area as well. Like, not only that, you've got to accommodate the whole land permission as well. Look at Old Trafford as well in terms of where it's actually situated. You've got to actually do physical work. That's why that's why it costs Liverpool so much money to do work on Anfield and renovate Millwood, because they didn't move They didn't move area. They worked within that. They were just chipping away each time. That's why those stands were closed off for so long. They were chipping away at their stadium. Real Madrid just played in their training pitch. That's all they did. They played in their training game, like their training ground.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. That would be a little bit more.
That's what they did.
There.
Yeah. That's what they did. They played in their training ground. Like the game against Chelsea in the Champions League was the first time I seen it. Like during that period, I think it was it's just as good. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it looked incredible. Like for a training ground, it's probably the best one I've ever seen.
Look, we can talk all day, I suppose. The idea of Old Trafford being knocked down, kept, renovated, whatever way we want to go about it, we could literally sit here and talk.
I don't think they should rush a decision, though. I don't think they'll rush this decision, though. I think the one thing this whole task force will do is they'll actually consider the fact is we'll actually spend properly to renovate it, but they will definitely seek Manchester Council. One thing I will say, though, see if they do go and build a new stadium, use your own fucking money and don't actually beg for financial loan. Like, they're already loaded enough. Just go and use your money. Like, that doesn't give, like, obviously, like, paying back loans and shit, but if you're wanting to prove yourself as an owner and or a majority shareholder with the view of becoming the main owner, you should show the fact you're willing to spend on matters like this, not say, oh, I want to get a bank loan. Whatever Jim Ratcliffe's motive is, and I completely understand that. For me personally, he should show the wealth of it and just say, you know what, I will fund this. Because he'll make it back anyway. He'll make it
But the
back.
thing is, though, a lot of football ground, like when a lot of football grounds have been built, they have bought it on loan. Like Tottenham Hotspur is another one, and they're in crap loads of debt because they're another one who put it in on loan, and Barcelona, no doubt, because they're playing at a completely different stadium because
financial levers.
Someone who's supposed to be in.
You've been. To be fair, you've been to the Spotify. You've been. Well, I can't call it the Nou Camp anymore. I call it the Spotify camp. Like, you know,
I went to the Nou Camp like a few months before it got knocked down, and it's a nice stadium. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like I've obviously seen the Bernabeu as well, and I've seen Old Trafford and plenty of other grounds. But like, yeah, you could tell that the Barcelona ground did need some new works doing. Where they're playing at the moment looks okay. And I'm sure there'll be a covering for the debts with the £70 blade of grass that they're selling.
I forgot
But
about
And
that.
the fact that they're making
they were
and the
selling
fact that
it when I
they're
went on
pandering
tour.
Nike.
They genuinely were
Can
selling
we
it when I
also
was on
laugh?
tour. They said, "Do you want to buy some grass?" And I was literally like, "No, I'm not buying grass from Barcelona. No, not a chance." But yeah,
Can we also laugh at the fact they plan on abandoning Nike for their own sponsorship to make their own money? They
I
absolutely
heard this.
dweeb.
Yes, I was going to say that someone wanted to mention it because what is it? They want to bring their.
I don't know.
They want to make their own brand. Is it?
Well, they
yeah.
can
So
call it shite.
they've got rid of it completely because they want to keep 100% of the profits, which it just shows how much hard up they really are for the cash at the end of the day. But
Agreed.
going back to Man United, though, I think regardless,
Mhm.
I think they're probably this any football owner, regardless, is gonna put it on
Yeah.
loan, no matter how much money you've got.
I agree.
Because even like the Etihad, that's not even owned by the Man City owners,
That's
and
a good point.
I'm sure they still had to take a bit of a loan out with Manchester City Council to extend it because they had to get permission off them. Whereas it will be a bit easier for Old Trafford for if it was to renovate or if it was to move because Old Trafford is owned. Firstly, all they'd need to do is really speak to Trafford councils and just look at the areas. But looking based off the map, they were looking at, like, say for example, Old Trafford is here. They put it like there, so it'd like be a 2-minute walk from one another. So the railway line and stuff wouldn't necessarily be affected. And I'd still say that they probably would play at Old Trafford right until that ground is completely built, and then they'd move into whatever they call the new stadium if they was to build the new stadium. But I don't think I would judge Jim Ratcliffe just based off the loan. I think
I
it
agree.
does say
I
a
agree with that.
lot for me that he is wanting to improve Old Trafford because the whole time the Glazers have been, they haven't even put a bit of paint on it. So to say that he wants to do some kind of improvement does speak a lot of levels for me, regardless of how he's planning to pay for this.
Like I
No,
suppose
absolutely. I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. I think
Mm.
another thing as well I was going to say is if we did move to a newer stadium, for example, if like I agree in the circumstance, I think that's absolutely spot on. Sean, I agree. I remember, like, obviously I was young when this all came out. Like the whole idea for like a new stadium came out. Well, I think 2000, some of that. So I was probably 3 years old, but I still saw it in the news and stuff when it came out that Arsenal were going to move stadium. That's why Wenger got a new contract, by the way. That's the only reason he got a new contract, because this new stadium. But he agreed at the time that he's willing to like guarantee he'll be there for 5 years to ensure it gets built and its stability. It's really interesting stuff. Look up Ballon on YouTube, really good football channel. They do a discourse videos for football clubs. There's one about Arsenal's their period when Wenger was coming into the end of the Invincibles, like that whole like 96 2006 era. Watch that video because I learned a few things about that, especially about the stadium and the cutting of money, their financial might. Really, really interesting. I had actually thought they would have renovated Highbury because I just love the atmosphere, but I can see why they went around it. Nah, I didn't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that. But it's significance of what you actually can get from a stadium and an atmosphere. Hey, Cian, we can now finally hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's a lot
Absolutely.
better now, man.
It's Dara's
No.
fault. Don't blame Dara.
So we'll just move swiftly on to the next topic. So the talk of injuries and how it affects the club and how they play. Now,
No, I'm staying out of this. Before I'll go on a rant. I'm staying out of this. I'm going on mute for this whole topic.
No,
I am.
The problem is, Reese, I was going to bring you in swiftly here because you're the technical talk man here. Do you feel you're coming into this conversation whether you like it or not? So basically, we'll let him sit there in silence for a moment. do you feel that the injuries do have an effect on the way Erik Ten Hag actually wants the club to play? Now, we all have our opinions on the style of play, whether there is one, whether there isn't one. When you compare it, let's say, to other teams, and I'm not going to try and compare us to the likes of City, like it's just more on depth and quality as well. But do you feel that the injuries that we've suffered so far actually make the difference in the style of play? Because like I find that when some of our teams are on form, because like when our best squad is out there, you can see patterns. But I suppose from that you can't really make too much of because it's only small glimmers. What do you think? Because I like to think that there is moments of a style of play, but it's just a matter of you need the players. But we can talk more on squad depth and everything on that then.
Yeah, I think with the injuries, it definitely does play a part in terms of, like we haven't got much quality there on the bench, and a lot of people will look at the Man City game and go, well, what really realistically, what a fantastic person have we got to bring on? Like, we don't have like this type of player to bring on, unlike Man City. A lot of people would say that, but the thing is, yes, there's a lot of injuries, but it's hard to really say because I do look at that Manchester United team and the players we've got. Yeah, there's a lot of injuries, but then you look at a lot of teams, regardless of the injuries, it would change the formation to say, right, okay, we don't have a left back, so go to a back three, play a winger as a wing back, a defensive winger as a wing back, and then play a 3-4-3. Go it that way, but I just think we don't help ourselves with the injuries because we're rushing players far too quickly. Martinez is an example. We've rushed him back. We've rushed Luke Shaw back. There is definitely concerns of why we're getting so many injuries. That we don't know, but a lot of clubs have been affected by injuries this season. Newcastle being another team, because I think us and Newcastle have had the most injuries, and I think it's a bit of both. I think, yeah, it's affected our style of play in a way, but then I look at it under the same breath and go, we still should be doing a lot better with the talent that we do have on that on the pitch in general. I'm a bit of my mind of both, if you want me to be fairly honest. But it just there was one comment what Ten Hag made, and he said no matter what he couldn't play how the style of play what he had at Ajax, and something that kind of comment it just made me think, how could you not? Like, this is the reason why Manchester United has employed you to have this style of play, to implement it at Manchester United. I'm not saying you'll see that in season 1, but you'd expect to see something in season 2. And if anything, we've gone backwards, injuries or no injuries. We have gone backwards because I can't see no style of play no matter what. But it's a tough one, especially when we've bought and loaned so many players. It's a difficult one. It is a sticky topic, and why we're getting injuries is also a sticky sticky situation. And regarding Malacia and Mount, I will defend them regarding their injury to the heaven and earth. But yeah, it's a very tough one.
Like, I suppose the only one I would disagree with you there is the rushing back of players. Like, I suppose I found that while it's frustrating to see that some players are, you go back to previous managers, I do find a lot of players under Ollie, and I'm not trying to disregard Ollie's reign or anything like that. I do find, if you compare Ollie to Ten Hag in terms of, I won't call it man management, but in terms of players coming back from injuries in general, I don't find that they're rushed back, because you look at some players, they're back in training, but they're not actually on the bench for another 2 weeks. And then you kind of say, as soon as you heard someone was back in training for under Ollie, you almost guarantee he was at least minimum bench the next game from training. So I suppose in that aspect, I won't say Martinez definitely wasn't rushed back. I think Martinez was definitely kept on the sidelines for as long as possible until he was proper 100%. And then from that, it was just a freak fucking injury, if you ask me, with Soufal. And in fairness, I was at the game against West Ham, and it did not look pretty. It looked like I was literally slap bang center halfway line in the south stand. I looked down to my right, and all you could see is Martinez go down, and I go, "That's a leg breaker." It looked worse than what it was in person, but in fairness, with Martinez, he wouldn't rush back. Malacia, we've had this topic before. He's probably fallen off the face of the earth.
This
Like,
season,
To be honest, in terms of Malacia, in my opinion, I actually think it's an ACL, but the club is covering it up. And the reason why I think the club is covering up is based on the market value, because I think they're looking at it because they were bought Malacia for what, £12 million? So it's going to be very rare if they wasn't going to get a profit off from a £12 million signing. So I think them covering up to say, oh, it's only a knee one, and they just the surgeries are going wrong. I just think it's complete lies, if you want me to be fairly honest. And I just think it's an ACL just so they can try and keep that market value up as high as possible. And I think it's wrong that the fans itself doesn't know the injury of Malacia. It even shows on that transfer market app that online saying it's unknown. Why is it unknown? And that's something I think is wrong, as well as Mason Mount's injury. Both of them players were injury prone before they come to Manchester United. Malacia before Manchester United didn't have an injury in over 2 years. Mason Mount only missed 16 games in 4 years as a Chelsea player. And I think that really raises alarm bells for me with the actual medical team at Manchester United.
Yeah, like I suppose I looked at the tender end of Mount's time at Chelsea, and I'm there like, it looked like maybe we were signing the wrong player, because you could see why Erik Ten Hag wanted to sign him. And like, in fairness, you can only go so much off of what you see in preseason, but just in them little snippets that we saw in preseason, you're there like, okay, maybe something might actually work here. Then we come to the Wolves game. You have Bruno and Mount basically playing like 2 10s, and Casemiro, in the famous words of Karanka that he quoted himself there the other night, he's actually playing like he's actually 31, 32 years old now because of the legs. His legs are gone. Like, I don't want to be the one to say his legs are gone, but as Karanka said, he's actually playing like he's 31 years old now. He's not 26 anymore. But I'll even bring in what Sean says here. Due to injuries, there's no consistent 11. And it was another point that I heard as well. Since the start of the season, the back four line has changed 24 times. And in Erik Ten Hag's ideal 11, his ideal back four has only played once. And I believe that, and I could be corrected here, I think that was against Wigan. So if he wants to actually play his style of play, whatever that may be, because I know recently, though, Gaskin, if I keep mentioning, I suppose, a style of play, to the point that he only had his ideal back four once. I don't know what, like, Keane, if you want to come in on that, I suppose with the state of injuries at United at the moment, it's also down to the squad depth as well, because you look at, we talk about our back four. You look at Man City, they have a back four that can all play centre back, but it's because, in my opinion, there's only one of those back in Pep's back four. You can play anyone on that centre back line, but you can only play one of them at centre back, and that's Ruben Diaz. You can play anyone else across the two flanks. Talk to me, man, in terms of squad depth, and that goes for our midfield mainly as well, I feel, because it's more, we have quantity over quality in all departments, because in reality we actually have all departments in terms of depth down, but it's more down to the quality. So I want to bring you in here, man. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, obviously, squad depth itself is nowhere near good enough. Like, if you think about it, right, you have, say, the start of the season, right, you're going into the start of the season with everybody fit, other than Malacia, because Malacia, well, sorry, when I say everyone fit, I mean every senior team player fit other than Malacia, right? I suppose hindsight is a great thing. If you look at Kobe Mano, if Kobe didn't get injured in pre-season against Real Madrid, he probably would have had himself and Casemiro start the majority of the games, and you wouldn't have had probably half the chaos that's been going on in our midfield. But look, partially too, that's Ten Hag wanting to change the style of play and all that. And I completely get the idea of him wanting us to be the best transition side in the world, both attacking and defending, which is fine from an attacking point of view. It's not bad, but when it comes to defensive side of it, Jesus, it's like watching a basketball game. Like if you look at Wednesday week ago, what I saw Wednesday week ago, the first half against Forest, was like what we see in the majority of games, like a basketball game, and not in a good way. Then you had, I know obviously Casemiro got the winner in the end, and to be honest, I don't think there would have been any other United player on the pitch that would have put his head there. Thank God he did for the goal. But I think the second half was like watching us under Louis van Gaal.
That's not good, man. That's not good.
No, it's not good, like, but and then as for in terms of the full squad depth, like I'd say bar the first game against Wolves, other than some last year, I think we've had everybody. Like obviously, I know the whole idea of Martinez missing, Casemiro missing for parts. Someone as well who is, by the way, injury prone since he came here, and the club are looking to shift out in Varane, has actually only missed 5 games throughout the season.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because like when you look at our I think he's actually the person of anyone who has been injured who's actually missed the least games, which says a lot, really.
Yeah, it does actually. And I look at the squad alone, right? I'm not saying our starting 11, but obviously, as we said, like in loads of other channels and people have said it, it's just such a mixed bag of players. Like you have.
Would you agree with the point that I'm going to make now? And there's times where they have the fluidity and they can play like. I'm not going to ever compare them to the way Ten Hag actually played under Ajax. I see Reece shaking his head, so I'm not going to go to that level. What I'm saying is that they actually look like a unit at times, whereas then there's majority of the time they seem to look like they're playing as 11 individuals. And anyone can take that point. Like I'll start with yourself there, Keane, because we're talking now at the moment, but lads, you can join on there. Do you feel it's a case of 11 individuals, or is there actual fluidity in the team at times?
What I would see.
I think his reaction says it all. Sorry to interrupt there, but I think.
I think his reaction says it all. But it's like, obviously, look, it wasn't nice in the end getting beaten badly by City in the end, but for the majority of that game, there was actually a bit of steel about us for once. A bit of togetherness without people. Oh God, what did we do to Reece Hall?
Oh no! Oh, sorry. I swear to God, Reece, I did not remove you. With all like poor Reece is getting off the doing.
No, right, Reece.
You bunch of fucking bastards.
I did not do anything. I may be the host, but I did not do anything.
And I did nothing because I'm not in control of it.
Get this trending on Twitter. That hashtag is Reece okay. Oh man, we could be here all night just abusing Reece. Whatever we're about to talk about Old Trafford and
Oh,
stay in the
Okay,
United
back
team
to
right
what we
now.
were supposed to be talking about anyway.
So moving before we move on, Keen. Sorry,
okay.
I've just seen Keen's here. Reese, would you like to add anything to that before we move on?
We don't have a style of play. We've never had a style of play. The manager bullshit for the very beginning. Stim is a great manager, but he needs to fucking start talking. He doesn't have the style of play he wants us to play. Simple. And I don't think he even wants to play that way. So, if anything, why has he got the job in the first place? There you go.
But if you think about it, last season what he did worked. And he has gone a full 360 this season. Then, if you think about it.
Yeah, like you could sense that there was actually something there.
It
Like
was
I
never
suppose last year,
consistent. It was never consistent.
Yeah.
It was never consistent. It was never consistent.
and I suppose while we're on tactical point of view, I saw a comment earlier, and I'm going to scroll back up here just to find it because it was actually one while we're talking tactics, and this is why I want to bring Reese into this. Why do United resort to playing a low block to win games?
Bang average
And we-
basic players.
And to move on to topic number 3, bang average players. When he wants to be, he can be world class. Marcus Rashford. With his goal at the Etihad, lads, Reese, we know what your opinion is going to be on this, but I'm just going to throw it out there anyway. Does it show a hint of a resurgence of form, or is there more to it than that? So maybe I'll start with you there.
It's got to be a lot more. Like the problem is with Marcus Rashford. I can understand why people love Rashford because he's the United Academy boy. He's made it big and the blah 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 blah. But the thing is with Rashford, he'll have a great season, a fantastic season. Then he'll flop for a few seasons. Then he'll come good again. Then he'll flop again. And I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say it's true, but it looks like he only really comes on form again when his contract's up for renewal. And that just makes me think, is that just so he could get a brand new contract with Manchester United? And I understand maybe he's probably got a lot on with personal life, and obviously all footballers are humans at the end of the day, and they don't deserve the abuse, but criticism, they 100% deserve. And it's not just Marcus Rashford who's been bang average. Bruno Fernandes, this is the worst season I've seen of Bruno, and I love Bruno. I even watched Bruno when he was at Sporting for a little bit, so I even know what he was like when he was in the League of Portugal. And Casemiro's not been fantastic. Anthony's being Anthony. Martial's stuck in the medical room as per usual. So, but there is some players who's really dipped on form. And is it the fact that I can't be bothered? Is it the fact of I'm burnt out to hell? Because Bruno doesn't even get a minute's rest, for instance. Rashford only really got dropped because of the amount of criticism he got after that Newcastle game. So I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I just think for me is we can't judge them based off the one game. We just need to keep seeing that consistency. And with Rashford doing that interview, the words he said in that interview, he needs to display it on the pitch now and show the fans that he loves this club, he cares for this club, and he wants to do the best he possibly can. Because all the words, great to hear, but I just want to see it as well. Because when I see it, he's not tracking back and helping out the left back, if that's Lindelof or Amrabat. He's not helping other people around him. He's walking. Bruno giving so much of the ball away constantly all the time. Anthony, the next fidget spinner being Anthony. I think the only players who have really been consistent for me this season is Kobe. And I never thought I'd ever say this, is Dalot. They're the only two consistent people this season in the Manchester United squad. And even Dalot has had some rough games, but
I love Dalot, so finally someone's giving him some praise.
I have never
To be
praised
honest,
Dalot until this season. Everybody knows my thoughts on Dalot, and this season is the first time I've ever praised him. So
there
I
is
think
one
that
other
just
name,
really
but I'm
speaks
not saying
enough.
it. There is one other name, but I'm not saying it.
I go on say it. If Haas said it, no.
No, it's not happening.
We'll
There's
just
no
feed it.
way
We'll
I'm
feed it
saying
out of
that
you. Come
name.
on.
It's not happening. No, I'm not saying it. Not a chance. I'm not saying his name.
Guys, just a
I see.
second.
Everyone's in the comments
Nate-
saying, "Come on, we want them to say it."
It's not happening.
Nathan is
I'm not saying his name. I'm not saying his name
Na-
because I fucking hate them. That says it all. Like
I think is it this man you're referring to?
I said a footballer, not a fucking model.
Oh man, but like I suppose,
He's the worst player I've ever fucking seen in my life. Like he is. I'm a what now?
But
Harry
come here.
Maguire.
you're the fact shouter.
Nate,
Harry
a minute
Maguire.
ago, said
Harry
Martial can
Maguire.
stay there.
Oh
Harry
no, like
Maguire.
Oh, he said it.
Fucking Harry Maguire.
I think he
There
only
we
had
have
really
it.
a couple of good months, so I don't think he was overall consistent because even sometimes I've watched Maguire, I think, Maguire, man, what the hell are you doing? Like, I'm still thinking that of myself, but don't get me
Still
wrong,
don't rate him.
like, he's definitely improved, and I'll put my
I still
hands
don't
up
rate him.
about that, but
no, like,
He's still shit. He's still shit though.
I'll be the first to say it, and I would gladly say it because was I supportive of his signing? Yes. For the price tag, absolutely fucking not. But under Ollie, he was relatively decent that first season. We relied on him
There's
for
a
a lot
good-
of that time. And
There's
it
a good
came
reason
to,
for that though.
yeah, like we can be here all night talking that on that part. But
No,
like,
it's just because we played a way that fit him really well. We played a low block counter attacking style of play.
And like that's the point I was going to bring on is the fact that when he's in a certain setup, like I genuinely believe he is a good footballer. If you look at it this way, if he went to West Ham it's in the summer and he went to play for them, he would thrive there. He genuinely would. And
There's less pressure as well. There's less pressure. I don't think he handles pressure that well. I don't think he does.
But I guarantee you, he'd be considered if he went to West Ham. He played like even some bit like he's playing in his resurgence now. He would be considered improvement of the season.
I also laugh at people who always said, "Well, Pep wanted him." Still wouldn't have fucking used him. Let's be real. He's too slow.
There was that fake quote that came up before, and I laughed, but I knew it was true. If it was actually true that it was said that, like, there was that whole fake quote that Maguire apparently had said that, oh, but if Ruben Diaz had gone the other way and I went to City, I would be thriving. He'd be getting the dog's abuse. No, if that was actually a true quote, I know it's not a true quote, but if it was,
I've never seen that.
But I've seen it somewhere before, but I know it was a fake quote the whole time, but I was kind of saying to myself, you want to know if someone actually...
If that's a legit quote, I'd laugh. Like, I've never seen that quote before.
It came out with some article, but it was found to be pure clickbait in what it was. But it's actually kind of fact, though. If you think about it, Ruben Diaz went to United and Maguire went to United or to City. What are the odds Ruben Diaz would be getting the abuse that he's getting and Maguire would be thriving? Like, it's a genuine thought, like.
Now, in saying that, you're on about Ruben Diaz, and I know it's unfootball related, but if he was with United, it would have been football related. He was actually with Arabella that was on Love Island All Stars. So you can
how
imagine.
Do you know that, Ian?
How do I know that? I suppose because I had to watch it here with my missus, like, but anyway. She told me, she asked me, "Did you not know that?"
I don't think there'd be any abuse for Ruben Diaz personally. Like on his day, he is by far one of the best centre backs in world football.
Guaranteed. I'm not even going to debate that. He is like
I don't know where people get the opinion that Harry Maguire is England's best centre back. England's best centre back is what only just came back from injury, from John Stones.
Yeah.
Stones. But the reason I'm saying that example is if
Mm-hmm.
he had come to United as Ruben Diaz and not Maguire, that story with your one, it would have been blown out of proportion
Oh,
compared
guaranteed,
to with yeah.
because
I
at
actually
the end,
wonder what would have. I actually wonder where United actually would be by circumstance if Diaz had ever actually come to United. I'm not saying
I
we
don't,
should do it now. I'm not, but I do wonder like the circumstance of like we would, because when you
because we
think
have been a
about
bit
it,
of a
we would
graveyard for players. I don't think he would have thrived.
maybe
I just
maybe not the graveyard sense. What I'm saying is like a more like balanced defender that can move. United have got of that in their locker where but United have had very strong but quick mobile players that are good with the ball in defence
Mm.
that have thrived. Like if this had been 20, 30 years ago, Maguire was actually available in that time, he probably would have thrived in that era of football 20, 30 years ago. Like
yeah.
but like I'd say early to mid 90s, Harry Maguire would generally be one of England's best centre backs in that period of time when it actually mattered to him. Slow moving centre backs, just big bullies, but can dominate their area. In this era, though, let's be real, the modern game isn't slow anymore. Like that's not the circumstance in this era to survive and actually succeed. Not just to be in any position, you've got to be quick. Slow moving players don't succeed anymore unless you're incredibly gifted, like a Rodri. He ain't
Yeah.
quick. He ain't quick, but he is
No,
incredibly gifted and he's incredibly
would you go as
intelligent.
far as to
Maguire
say that?
has a level of intelligence, but it's not enough.
Would you go as far as to say so? Like I think you said his name there. I might have overheard you there. Do you say John Terry wouldn't have? Like if you're talking about in the modern game now, say.
In this era, John Terry.
Yeah.
John. To be fair though, like growing up watching John Terry was quite quick. Like he wasn't extremely quick, but he was actually he had a bit of pace on him. I think the one thing as well though is when you
Yeah.
looked at John Terry, I also think even though he had a lot of bollocks behind the scenes for what he's done behind the scenes, if there's one thing I think John Terry is compared to Harry Maguire, I think John Terry was a far superior professional. Like I look at the
in no way am I
prime
trying to
example-
compare the two now before someone goes and says that.
No,
but
I know you're not. I know you're not. No, you're not. For me, I think the one example
Derek
why I always
Ashman
think John
says Harry
Terry
Maguire is
is
better than John Terry.
watch it.
the reason why I think John Terry is a much better professional as well, and he's arguably England's best centre back of the last 20, 30 years, maybe apart from Rio Ferdinand. Like when you look at John Terry, there's one moment in particular that I will say stands out, and that's that interview that he did when a couple of years ago when he said when Mourinho got the job at Chelsea back. He was already out with his wife, like in family. They were out having a meal. He was drinking wine. He got that phone call. I'm coming back. You're back in the team. You're my captain. Whatever. And he stopped drinking wine and he got straight back in the train. Now he's 33, 34 at the time. So you'd think he's on the way down. And yet, when Mourinho's team won the league in 14-15, there was one of the best seasons that he had in his career. Like he's still an asshole. Like John Terry is the biggest asshole I've ever seen, apart from a few others. But in terms of like professional to that extent, I don't see that in Harry Maguire. Like some of the things he does behavior wise, his behavior and like press interviews, for example, and how he appears on the pitch doesn't give me top professional perspective. But if this had been 20, 30 years ago, he would have thrived easily. I think he would have been like in any team. Like I look at the circumstance, he would have thrived.
And just bring on Nathan's
That's just
point
my
there.
opinion, of course.
That is the season he didn't miss a single game, is it?
He didn't. No.
If you're looking now in terms of
you cut a little bit.
if you're looking at in terms of professional, I actually think Harry Maguire, as much as I've been critical of him, he has been a good professional. In terms of one, he's never said anything bad regarding the club. He's never spoke about the club to his agents. He had his captaincy stripped off him. which rightly
True.
so. He never went around saying things. I know he wasn't
Mhm.
one for conflict on the pitch. He didn't like to go up to the referee. That was something I was critical of. You defend your players, but Bruno does it too much to the point he whines at the referee.
Mhm.
And I think I would much
Yep.
rather him not go up to the referee to prevent a yellow card than try
Yeah.
and then get booked. In my personal
Mhm.
opinion,
No,
Mm.
absolutely. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
think the whole way Harry Maguire has gone about, especially when he's had a lot of abuse, I've not seen a player have so much abuse than Harry Maguire. He gets slated by
Mm.
every single fan base by his looks, the way he plays, etc., etc. And I think he has
Yeah.
remained a very, very good good person to still want to play football, to still play at the highest level. Because
Yeah.
as a footballer, would you want to stay in the Premier League at Manchester United after the way he has been properly abused? Like, he even had people go to his house. That was how bad his abuse got.
True.
And I think for me, as a professional, I can never knock Harry Maguire for being a professional off the pitch. And the way he is as
Mhm.
a player, I can never knock that.
Oh, of course.
I'm happy. I'll criticize his performances because, yeah, he has
Yep.
been poor over
Absolutely.
the years. But I wouldn't ever say anything about his professionalism, not in the slightest, apart
Oh,
from
guaranteed.
that Greece incident.
No, of
That
course.
is the only thing I will criticize about Harry Maguire
Yeah.
as a professional and
Absolutely.
nothing more.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's incredibly fair. And again, it's the circumstance. We have seen him. I mean, I'm not a fan of the guy. I've always said that. I'm not a particular fan of the guy, but I also don't think I don't think he's a shit footballer. I just
No.
think he's shit for United. Like, in the circumstance that he is, when you want to be a progressive team, he is actually a hindrance. It's not because of who he is as a person. I think this is what his like obviously there's football fans everywhere that have like their own personal favourites and all that shit. I mean, we've all been there.
Mm.
He's one that's like saying, "Oh, he's perfect for United going forward." Well, he's not. Like, if you want to be a fast, progressive team that's all about transition, you need to have quick, mobile players. And for the
Mm.
life of me, he ain't ever going to be that. I mean, I don't think he could ever get leaner than what he is. I'm not saying he should go and lose weight. I don't think that's the reason. I'm not sure he's a very big built guy. He's well over 6'5". I think he's 6'6" or something. Like, he's a
Yeah.
huge guy. But when you look at him, like, even like in some areas where he can get out maneuvered by like the slowest of strikers as well, and that's the quickest ones I'm expecting. Like, I'm
Yeah.
expecting that because they've got quicker feet than him. They're more agile. But even like the slowest of strikers, and he gets knocked away, and I'm like, eh? Like, it's just that. It's just eh. Like,
Yeah.
that's why he is a hindrance, and we see it as well when he goes so far up. You just need to knock a ball over his fucking chrome dome, and you're getting past him. Because that's it. It's once you've got the ball past him, like 5 yards, he ain't catching you. He's too slow. But in recent games I've watched him, however, this is what I'm being fair about. In recent games I've watched him, he has actually dropped off a couple of yards as well. If you've noticed his starting position, he used to start so high up the pitch. He's actually dropped off a little bit. Like the likes of Varane or whoever's partnering him, they've went slightly further forward. It almost as if he's playing like as a sweeper position. He's sort of like sweeping in the defence now rather than just being a typical centre back. And I said it in the group chat recently, and I don't know if it would work, but I think Harry Maguire would have a much better career. Me personally, I think he would be a decent defensive midfielder. When you look at him, I actually think his passing range, he is a big guy. Obviously, if you want a midfield, you want a midfield to be quick. But if you want to be like a slow but effective midfield, in that sense, with a strong base, he does actually have that in his locker. If you put someone mobile around him who can do the work, and he can just screen the midfield, and then he can just pick passes, he's very effective. But if you want to play a high line in defence, I'm a bugger putting him in my defence. Unless it's a back three, then you've got two centre backs to man round him. Because that was his best time for England as well. No in a back four, it was in a back three.
And correct me if I'm wrong, was he the central of the back three in England's formation, was he?
Is he not off the left though, Maisie? Because that's generally where he
To be honest, though, England plays different formations. I noticed depending on who the opposition are, and in the more recent years, England have played more of a back four system, but they play two defensive midfielders. Of if that's Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips, or if that's Declan Rice and Jordan Henderson. Oh, that just gives me shivers saying his name. But
even as an Irishman, I shiver at that midfield.
I completely like. Don't get me wrong. I used to like Calvin Phillips, and I will openly say that I did. But with game time, he could be a decent player, and I will still say that. But I don't think he should be in that England squad. No way he should be in that England squad without doubt about that. But the way, even in that back four system, he does play like he's got 6 defenders on the pitch because of the way the defensive midfielders are at the 2 midfield role is set up, and then he uses the left back role to go further forward because even Kyle Walker is more one who will play more defensively minded than he would attacking minded because that's more Kyle Walker's bit of weakness. And then if, for instance, a team goes to attack England, they'll be able then to move into more of a back three system and then drop the left back into the midfield role to try and dispossess the opposition.
No, I agree, but it pains me to say how good that England team is. Like, it pains me to admit it. But when I look at England's team, for me, there's 2 midfielders immediately I'm putting in that team, like regardless of the system, like is immediately Jude Bellingham. England's not even just England's best midfielder, England's best player in a long time. Like I would say well over a decade, because Rooney in his prime. But like I haven't seen anyone in that England team, like in England's team, the past 10 years that's as good as Jude Bellingham. In terms of like just overall quality. The other one, 100% for me, is Declan Rice. He's a fantastic midfielder. I've never rated Declan Rice, basically agree on that. I've never rated him, but like I do think he is still a very good midfielder. It's just who you play beside them, I think, is effective. The funny thing is, though, is you could I'm not saying you drop Bellingham back into a number 8 role. I think he is better as a box-to-box player. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like marketing ability, 100%, he's certainly that. I think if you were to drop Bellingham into say an 8 role, for example, like if you played him in that box-to-box role, I think he's just as good as being as number 10. I would play Maddison ahead of them. I think he's another incredible number 10, but I don't see him starting England games. But when you look at it, even like England can get away with playing a 2-man midfield of just Declan Rice and Bellingham, and they're still going to absolutely batter teams. Because you've got an amazing defensive quality midfielder and a brilliant attack-minded midfielder that will love to put a defensive shift in. Even if England played a 4-4-2 under Southgate, I'd fucking shit myself, not going to lie. Because they're that good. Obviously, you need to drop Harry Kane, because if England ever want to win anything, which I don't want to see in my life, if England want to actually win something, you need to drop Harry Kane. But
disagree. I disagree completely. Harry Kane for me is the best. You're saying it based off trophy mentality, but the goals Harry Maguire produces is absolutely unbelievable. He is a top striker, and he could slot in pretty much every team, every single team. I'd say every team in Europe he could slot in.
He's a brilliant goal scorer. I'm not going to deny that. I just had to get it out there. But goal scoring wise, he is incredible. Like there's just a plethora of talent that England has that makes me sick. But I think that's an element of where United have also went wrong over the past 20, 25 years. We used to sign the best upcoming English or British talent. When was the last time we actually signed a top British talent? And I mean genuine top British talent coming through. And Mason Mount doesn't count, Maisie. Like...
I'm going to throw a name to the wind here.
I'm saying Rooney. I'm being honest. I'm saying Wayne Rooney.
It probably is Rooney, but I'll throw a name to the wind here because on paper he had the opportunity, or he had the potential to be one of the best English centre backs. Phil Jones.
I'm just not going to go there.
Always believe in Phil Jones.
But look,
I think
lads,
I don't know if I don't know if he would have amounted to anything even with the injuries like that
Look,
ilk
I
of a
think
player, but he definitely had some quality in there. But for me, I think just that last top British talent that United actually signed, that you actually seen scary potential and actually delivered on it, for me probably was Rooney. I
oh,
don't
100%.
know if there has been any British talent since we've actually picked up. You know, I think if we had got Bellingham, we would have had that player we've craved for a long
they're
time.
missing one.
Mm.
Michael Carrick after Rooney. Yes, he wasn't a big
True.
flashy name or
Very
whatever,
true,
but
actually.
all
But
his
lads,
lifting's very
True.
simple.
Yeah.
I
I think
would
if you're
love to
looking at like
just
that
sit
linchpin,
here.
that linchpin, yeah.
I would like. I just love to sit here and just chat shit for the next hour again. But we're after passing the hour mark already, and we haven't even talked
Oh,
about the
you
game
bastard.
tomorrow afternoon. You wouldn't fucking think it, but we haven't even mentioned the
To be
Everton
fair,
game.
to be fair, we're talking about Everton. Does anyone really
Should
want to
we
talk
bring
about
back
Everton?
Ashley Young and James Garner?
Yes.
Someone
So let's throw it out there. Expectations for tomorrow.
Of course we're going to win.
United get attacked by Onana for about 45 minutes. He then parries the ball, hopefully not into his own net, and then after that we run up the pitch and Garnacho scores. I don't know what to expect tomorrow. The fact it's an early kickoff as well, I don't know what to
I think that's
expect
the
tomorrow.
problem
I'll be
we
honest.
have nowadays. That we have this expectation, but we just sit here and wait for something to happen.
I'm just at that point, where like I'm trying to find good in our team. Like I have always tried that. I've tried to find some good moments. There's only 3 good moments, and one of them isn't even available, and that's Rasmus Højlund. For me, it's just
Julio, no,
it's just Garnacho.
just
It's just Garnacho, Pino,
no.
and Julio.
Wish.
Julio. You sir, need to put a timeout. Nah, I think we will win tomorrow, but Everton's always been a sticky slope for us at times. But
Mm.
it'll be a good game. It'll be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. My only thing is though is we cannot allow Everton to bully us on the field. Like this team gets
Yeah.
bullied enough. Like I want to actually see them bully a team for a change. Like just take the. I'm not saying go out and take the piss out of Everton. Take the piss out of Liverpool next week. That'd be more fun. But like, I want us to actually just go have a very good professional performance against them tomorrow. Like have a good professional performance. We dominate the ball. We actually make chances. We actually take chances, and we show that we can actually win and play as a team. Because at the moment, I'm not seeing it as much. I don't know
And
what Ten Hag is hoping for, but I'm hoping tomorrow is the start of something new. Maybe
And I
I'm a bit
suppose
too
that
late to say that.
that's the problem because like we are on about chance conversion. Like our one good hope of potential actually turning XG goals into something is
Isn't it?
Rasmus Højlund, and of course he's currently injured. Hopefully he's back for the Liverpool game. I just genuinely hope at this point. Keane, what do you think, man? Is there any hope for our front three, or what do you think?
Tomorrow. I don't see, unless no. The only I think Garnacho might have a good game tomorrow. Not necessarily saying he'll score, but I think whether it be tomorrow or next week against Liverpool, I think Garnacho might need to come off the bench. I think he started the last 24 games in a row.
Yeah,
And
he's,
he looks like someone is
he's
burnt
on a
out.
mental run.
But I could see tomorrow being a hard slog of a game. I don't see it us dominating. I don't really see Everton dominating it because I think ever since I'm trying to think now, the it's probably the last few years against Everton, probably bar the game 4-0 in 2017. I'd say other than that, I don't think there's been any game that has been either at home or away, where we've kind of completely blown Everton away in the league. I mean,
I
Yeah.
agree. No,
I
I
could
agree
see,
with you.
I could see Manu or could see Casemiro, someone like that, popping up to score the winner.
I'd take that.
Hmm.
I'd take that.
Yeah,
Like I suppose, like you kind of look at the Everton team. I had to just get their last team. No, albeit they lost against West Ham in this game. But like, you look at some of their standout players this year: Branthwaite, Onana. Fucking Decore is actually having mediocre season. Like James Garner back from injury, he's showing. Like I suppose Garner hasn't really set the world on fire since he left United. He's shown glimmers, but that be that.
I don't think
And it,
he knows his level as a professional footballer. I think that's the sad indictment of Garner. I think Garner's a decent player. I just don't think he knows his level.
and it's amazing to think how was it fucking 5 years ago now
I
we
think
had that.
it's no disrespect to him because I think he's
Mm.
got ability. I think I don't know what you guys think, but I think James Garner is a championship level player at best because that's where he's excelled the most. Maybe lower level Premier League, but
Yeah,
I don't think at the highest of level. I don't think he would have succeeded personally. I don't know what it is, but I don't think he's a bad player at all. It's just it happens for professional footballers. I think that's his level. Me personally.
like I suppose everyone will know their level eventually. Like, you kind of make the point there. Does he even know his own level? Because like he has the glimmers of hope where he actually could have gone on to done something with United, and then there are times he shows that, but then the majority of the times
Yeah.
it's just flat. Really, maybe I'll bring you in here. We'll kind of run from that into the starting 11. Do you find that across the back line there'll be any changes? Would you put Dallo left back and put someone else at right back for a change?
Oh, I'm just sick of seeing Lindelof as a fullback, if you want me to be honest. I'm just sick of
Yes.
Lindelof full stop. I'm sick of seeing Lindelof. I'm sick of seeing his name. I'm just sick of Lindelof. Like, for me, I would put... Oh, this is tough. You know what? I would actually put Dallo as a right or left back. And that kid Willie Koala, am I pronouncing
Kabbalah,
his
yeah.
name right? Yeah, I'd actually put him as a right back because I know Ten Hag's not going to change his formation, and I'm sick of death of saying change the formation. I'd actually give him a go in that because he actually played very well as a
He
fullback
did
when he came
actually,
on
yeah.
against Manchester City. And I'd actually play Johnny Evans and Varane in the centre back role because I think if he's back fit, of course, for Johnny. I don't know how many people would agree with me on this. I actually think Johnny Evans has been our best centre back this season. I think he's been absolutely top, and he does not look his age. And even Johnny, he can actually sit in the left back role because he has actually played as a left back before in a few games in the past. So that could be another potential option that Manchester United could do. Not that it will happen, but that's what I will personally do. But I know we'll see Lindelof in the back lines. So, but in terms of the actual game itself, it is a bit of a worry. Not because of Everton itself, because of their manager, and as I would like to call him, the Diego Simeone with a budget. This guy, he is frightening. He is genuinely frightening because he is very happy to sit back all game. He will defend for your life, and his tactics is just pure. Don't put the ball in that net. Put it in that net. That is literally what his tactics are. Like he's just that old school, and
Nobody's gonna like what I'm gonna
that's
say,
why
but
he's
I'd
so
play Ericsson
successful.
tomorrow.
That's why he's so successful at Burnley. Why he's becoming successful at the moment with Everton is because he's just playing straight to the point, old school. He wants to defend for his life, and then he'll find a Calvert-Lewin header, or he'll find a bloody Decore or Onana screamer. That is the type of manager that he is.
Julio made the point here.
It's basic
No
stuff
buzzwords,
for
just
his
ball.
team. Yeah, his team's basic. It's just literally you work hard, you get a result. If you don't work hard, you get pumped.
Yeah, you need legs for Sean Dyche's team. You need legs. You need power.
They are one of the
You
they are
need
always like one of the
strength.
fittest teams. One thing I will admit about Sean Dyche, I'm not a fan of his football, but the one thing I am a fan of is his professionalism and his work ethic. His teams are always in one of the top. I'm pretty sure his teams are always in like the top 3 or the top 4 of fittest teams in the league. In terms of like
But couldn't
the amount of energy they cover as well, and distance
I
they
know
cover.
you said that you don't like his the way he plays, but couldn't you argue he has to play that kind of way in the Premier League to actually succeed in the
absolutely.
Premier League and to get points? Because
Yes.
you look
Yes,
at
I do.
Diego Simeone, if he played how Barcelona and Real Madrid are, he wouldn't get the success he is at Atletico Madrid.
I
Sean
agree.
Dyche, he would not pick up points even against the lower teams if he wasn't a one who wants to play a low block and go for the counter and be fantastic at his set pieces. That is the if he wasn't, Burnley would have got relegated a long time before.
Absolutely. No, I'm not arguing that at all. I mean, I don't like the fact is he does it against the teams of similar level. I understand doing it against a Man City or doing it against a Liverpool like that. To me, that makes sense. But it's teams like similar level to them where they play the same way, and I'm like, I'd like to see just a little bit different, a little bit more. But I do agree. Like, there's times where he really has to do it, and it is a reflection. Calvert-Lewin has never been a good striker. He's fucking
in fairness,
wank.
His time under Ancelotti, he thrived. I don't know what it was, man.
No. Everton had a quality striker in Moise Kean, and they picked Pish over Moise Kean. So fuck the lot of them. And they wasted Carlo Ancelotti. Thank God he left. He talked himself back into the Real Madrid job. That's why he's one of the greatest of all time. So fuck Calvert-Lewin.
But even just to go back onto Sean Dyche, like you mentioned there the fact he's proper old school, but I think what makes him stand out is he keeps the old school style, but his willingness to adapt. How do I put it? He adapts.
I think for me, when Reece said he doesn't like it about him doing it to similar level teams, he needs to keep the consistency, because if he decided one day, let's go attacking, and then I've got a big team next week, I just don't think it's good for the players, personally, in my opinion. You can change it around, but you need to keep consistency to gain points. He's very happy to come out with a 1-1 draw. And because he will literally die on this hill if he went and got a bloody draw every single game. He'd be buzzing his head off. That's the type of manager Sean Dyche is.
It would be it'd be absolutely perfect. And I say this because obviously they're at times most of the time they're such an irritating fan base. It would be absolutely brilliant to see Sean Dyche manage Arsenal.
Oh my god. AFTV would have a meltdown.
It would be fucking beautiful for the club that it would be the Chelsea are the £1 billion butlers. We know this. This is a certain person's words, but Arsenal playing that kind of football with the likes of Saka and all that and Gabriel Martinelli, those Arsenal fans would go fucking after heat, and I would enjoy every single minute of it. It would be fucking beautiful to see them play that way. It would be fucking hilarious.
And I know he did. I know he denied it.
That's how you were going to say something there, kid?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know he denied it down to the ground, but I reckon Arteta ends up at Barcelona in the summer, regardless whether he wins the league with Arsenal or not.
I think he's an exciting manager. I think he's an exciting manager. I think next Barcelona.
I think he's a lunatic.
Yeah,
he must be taking some of. No, don't get me wrong, right?
He's taking charge number 122.
Huh?
He's taking charge number 122.
Well, it has to be. Jesus, the way to be jumping around the place. He must be taking whatever Pep is taking the times in there. But no. Look, in all seriousness, right? What he has done with Arsenal, I would say fair fucking play to him, because that's not easy. Your first ever managerial job. As young as he was, time to take it. Yes, I know he took Arsenal backwards to go forwards. But let's be honest with it, lads. If me, Reece, Dara, or Maisie had our pro licenses, yes, I've done work with the FTI in the past and will be again soon as an auxiliary coach and have my UEFA C license. Not anywhere near to the level of a UEFA Pro license, but just say if that would be you or anyone getting a UEFA Pro license, and then all of a sudden landing the Arsenal job, Not happening. One, it's his playing career, and two, because he obviously sat next to Pep. Now, I'm not saying he's not a great coach or whatever, but I do think there's something that has changed with Arsenal the last few weeks. But the real test will be when they play City again. And I think a bit like last season,
Yeah.
the pressure wasn't on them. And I think for ourselves, and a lot of United fans don't see it, out of the three, as much and all as it would be painful to see Arsenal win a league for the first time in 20 years, since I was
Yeah, the
8,
lesser of three evils. They're the lesser of
it'll
three
be
evils.
less than 3 evils, 100%. Because, and the amount of United fans I see, I don't give a fuck once Liverpool don't win anything. And like, hello, do not. So you're saying you want City to do another treble? You want City to do a 4-piece? I think people are fucking losing their. I don't know. There's some United fans
This
out
is
there. I
Oh,
actually
no,
wonder.
absolutely agree. It
this is
is
the
less of three
this is the
evils.
problem in modern. This is the problem in modern football now. Like with fans evolving, where fans are happy to see other teams win the league. Like I don't understand that. For me, it's I want United. Obviously, it's greed, but that's just how it is. I want United to win the league every single year. It's not going to happen, but that's what I want as a fan. Like, but circumstance being like, it's anybody but fucking Liverpool. Like
Oh,
City obviously are a local rival. They're fucking irrelevant. But seeing them win what they've done is an absolute abhorrence. It's disgusting. But it pains me a lot more seeing Liverpool lift a single trophy. Doesn't matter what trophy it is. It's especially because we saw what they done when they piped up the Carabao Cup after calling it the Mickey Mouse Cup last year. To them, like to anybody, a trophy like this is what I don't understand about people and their mentality. A trophy until you're out of it, a trophy is a fucking trophy. You're in it to win it. Like the self entitlement of we can just throw away a cup. I'm sorry, but who gives you the right to go and say like what gives you the absolute right in your head to say we should sacrifice a cup? No. If there's an opportunity to win something, fucking
you
go
take
out
it.
and win it. Like I know people are like saying, "Oh, they want top four." I want the FA Cup. I want the FA Cup. We're not good enough to be in the Champions League anyway. I want the FA Cup. It's the last bit silverware we can feasibly win. And people are saying we should
Massively.
sack off to focus on top four.
They're off their head.
Weirdos.
And I
Sorry.
suppose before Reese goes on another rant, we'll wrap up with the scoreline, folks.
I'm not going to go on a.
You were on the verge, don't lie. So look, we'll wrap it up there, lads.
Oh.
Final scores. Maybe what do you think?
I hate doing score predictions, especially these days. 2-1 for Manchester United. Hope.
Ian, what do you think, Ben?
1-0 United.
Reese.
Clean sheet
You're a
for
man.
Andrew.
Reese, you're a man for bad score lines. Are you going to go out there or are you going to be sensible? Don't give that devilish look. I hate that look.
Is that right? I I was thinking of an outlandish scoreline earlier on. I initially was thinking 4-1, 3-1s, all the entertainment, but no, I don't trust this team as far as I could throw them, and I'm just gonna go 1-0, and I'm gonna say 1-0, and I'm gonna say goal scorer.
Don't leave us in suspense.
I'm just contemplating who is actually good enough to finish a ball, but then I realise it's very few. I'm going to go 1-0, and I'm going to say Bruno Fernandes free kick.
Considering our
But-
record
but
of
all-
set pieces,
But also, I'm saying this as well, Christian Eriksen must start tomorrow if we want to actually play through the midfield. He has to
I
start.
agree.
But the problem is not to throw this out any further. Do you play him instead of Menu? Do you play him instead of Casemiro?
No.
What way do you play him?
I'll be honest with you. At the moment, I don't think we are competent with our midfield. Is that with white players at the minute? I think our white players are incredibly inconsistent. I mean, I do rate Garnacho. I think Garnacho's brilliant, but he's played so many games. He deserves it. I agree with Kean. He deserves to come off the bench. I would start him against Everton. I'd play him against. I'd bring him on. Well, not start, but I'd bring him on the second half, fresh legs. I would do exactly what we did last week. I would play that base. I would play that 4-4-2 diamond. Personally, I would play a midfield free. I would play the midfield free base. I would play Mainu in the middle. I play Eriksen in a slightly deeper position, just ahead of him on the left. And then on the right hand side, I play Casemiro in a box to box role because he, as a defensive midfielder, he's done. For me, he should just be destroying human beings, and I would love to see it. And I'd play Fernandes in that comfortable number 10 role. Just give him license to be a free midfielder as long as he just sticks to his attack midfield role and he doesn't become a fucking right back. And I would play Rashford up top. And I'd maybe Anthony, to be honest, beside him, or I would play, even though he's not incredibly great, I would play him just because his work rate and his energy. Either him or I'd play Ahmad. But I would definitely have Garnacho off the bench because I think he deserves a rest more than anybody. That's what I would do. I'd play that midfield base with an attack midfielder just ahead, and I'd play two up top. Not that it really matters, but it's purely for the sense of this team is tired, our wingers are inconsistent, and we need a midfielder that can actually pick a pass from a deep role that's actually accurate.
Nope, that's a good way to end. We'll wrap things up there, lads. Maisie, Keane, thanks for joining us, guys. Where can we find you on social media if you want to follow you?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. My Twitter's at Maino Diamonde, two of my favourite players. So if anyone wants to know who Diamonde is, I'm the biggest fan of Diamonde right here. And
Sean Maroney's going to re-enter this chat in 25 seconds.
We might be
is it for a good way or a bad way?
He's a Chelsea fan.
Chelsea's not getting Diamonde. I'm just going to end it like this. Chelsea's not getting Diamonde. That's all I'm going to say. They're not... Release clause or nothing. That's the only thing I'm going to say about Diamonde.
That's made my night, that.
Yeah, so you can catch me through there on Twitter, Maino Diamonde. Thank you again for having me on.
Keane, where can we find you, man?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Keane O'Sullivan, Twitter, Keane O'Sullivan, and Instagram, Keane Sullivan 1996. Just as I know I kind of missed out on the whole
stadium
plans for Trafford and all that. Because the laptop here was setting up and then the Wi-Fi was setting up as well on top of it. So just my own thing on that. Just to add that, I suppose I, like yourself, Dara, been to Old Trafford a lot over the last number of years. It would much prefer if something can be done with what's existing there. But I suppose the sad reality is if we want to have something brand spanking new, with being in the 21st century that we're in, I suppose in the long run, yes, it'll be very expensive to do, but
yeah.
And kind of coming to the realisation now that it's going to have to be a new stadium, unfortunately. But look, I suppose if it's any consolation, it's going to be in the same area. Which, look, I suppose is some consolation. And on the bit about Ten Hag, I would have probably missed as well. I think, maybe any of us have made a decision already. I don't know. We're not them. But I do think the 2 games against Liverpool in the league and the cup are the deciding factor in a
massively.
decision. Totally. I'm
Good
actually
point,
going to
actually.
the league game against
That's a
Liverpool.
Oh,
that's a very
one
good
going,
point, actually. That's a
one
very good
panelist going to
point.
the FA Cup game, one going to the league game. Hopefully, and I don't care if it's against Liverpool. Hopefully, they both have happy results. So look, lads, somehow we managed to hit the 90-minute mark quite literally because it's now our 30. To all those in the comments, thanks for joining us tonight. But for now, good night. See you later, guys.
All the best.